So it's part of the Grow My SME webinar program. And today I'm delivering on Google tools to help with your marketing. So my name's Deborah Goodall, and I'm a marketing consultant. And I've been working in marketing for just over 25 years and been running my own consultancy, Air Rate Marketing, for just about 10 years now. And these are tools that I use with my clients. When I'm talking about practical application of these tools, then this is really what happens in the real world. I'm not doing this from an academic point of view. I'm not a Google trainer. It's actually, this is how I use them in my business and how I help my clients use them to help their businesses. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves? Actually, that seems quite nice since it's a really small group. Do you want to go first, Patsy?
Oh, okay. Yeah, and if I seem distracted, it's because my foster dog keeps wandering around. So that's just so you know, he's part of this as well.
Okay.
I'm Patsy Quinn. I'm on this because I do have a Google My Business set up, but I suspect I'm probably not using it to the widest range that I can. Okay. And I'm a tutor, and ever since the pandemic started last year, everything I've done, instead of the kids coming to me, it's gone online. Okay. Which has worked very successfully, actually, because it means they don't have to worry about bad weather or, coming out at night. They just switch on the computers or the phones or whatever, and off we go. And one of the people that I tutored was actually in Lancashire.
Oh, right. Okay.
As a result of that, I thought, okay, distance is no object. This could become something I'd like to let more people across the country know that, they can do online tutoring with me.
Okay, right.
And then hopefully in the autumn, I'm adding to that in that I'm going to be doing some adult education classes here.
Oh, okay.
In the town, which I also then need to, I suppose, advertise in a different way from what I'm doing with the teenagers.
Okay, right, brilliant. Hi, Mina. We're just introducing ourselves. It's a really small group. So I'm just going to ask Harry to introduce himself.
Hi, Deborah. Hi, Patsy. Hi, Mina.
Hi.
I'm actually a business advisor within East Riding Yorkshire Council's team. So I've joined this today because a lot of the clients at the moment have been asking for extra help regarding marketing. And
right.
while I know the basics, such as all the social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and how to get yourself seen more and put out there more on the social media sites, using Google Business and stuff like that, I aren't really familiar with. So I saw it and I thought, I'll enroll on this. So I'm a bit jealous of people who come on these who actually do have a business, because I wish I had one, but maybe in the future. But in the
future, Harry, and then all of this will be much more useful to you.
Exactly, yeah.
Mina, do you want to just introduce yourself and your business, please?
Yeah, I was just going to say I'm very similar to Harry in that I'm a business advisor as well. So I've been recommending your workshop to a few businesses, hence why Patsy is here. And I said I was going to join to support her. But I was also hoping that Martin was going to be here, but who's another one of my businesses, but he's not here yet.
Okay. Yasmin, hi. We're collecting people as we go. Are you there? Can you hear us, Yasmin? No? Okay. I don't know whether she's there or not. Maybe not. Okay. So,
sorry, Deborah. Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry.
Hi, great. Yeah, we're just introducing ourselves because it's such a small group. I thought it'd be nice if people knew who people were. Do you want to just do a few seconds on your business?
Yeah, no, yeah. Mine is the Grasmere Gingerbread in the Lake District. I do marketing, sales, bit of everything really.
Okay, yeah.
I've been on one of your sessions before, Deborah, and I really like them. So taking the top tips.
Good. Yeah, I recognise the name actually. I was like, oh, where do I know her from? Yeah. Fantastic. Right, we'll crack on then. Okay, so learning outcomes from today. So we're gonna look at Keyword Planner so that you guys understand the importance of sort of keywords and phrases and how Google can help you work out what they might be. We'll look at the basics of Google My Business. We can delve a little bit further into that if Patsy wants a bit more further information. I think Harry mentioned that as well. We're going to look at Google Trends, which is a tool that not a lot of people use, but actually can provide some really valuable information to help people with their content strategies. We'll have a quick look at Google Alerts. And then we'll have a dive into Google Analytics. Now, unfortunately, Google Analytics is currently running 2 different versions of analytics. So we've got the universal one and we've got Gen 4. And I'm going to quickly look at both of them for sort of key takeouts. So we are starting with Google Keyword Planner. So is anybody currently using Google Keyword Planner? No, Patsy, no. Harry's like never heard of it. Me, no.
Neither have I.
Okay, so Google Keyword Planner can help you work out the keywords and phrases that you could use in your website to help you with your search engine ranking. So a keyword is basically the word or phrase, but they're all called keywords. Word or phrase that this best describes the content on your website page and is also the search term that you want to rank for. So it's basically the indexing system that Google or a search engine uses to work out whether the stuff on that page answers the query that's been put into Google. Patsy, do you have a website?
No, this is another reason that Mina's with me, because we're going to be discussing that after we finish with your session today.
Right, okay. Yasmin has a website. Harry will have clients that have websites. Yeah, we thumbs up on that, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so are you involved in the working out the keywords for your website, Yasmin, at all?
I have done some sessions on Google keywords and using them and putting them into meta descriptions and where to put them on the website. Yes.
Okay, right. So when you've worked out your keywords, have you used Keyword Planner?
I did briefly, yeah, but I think it is a whole different minefield.
Yeah. So okay. So when you're working out your keywords for your website, a lot of people tend to fall into the trap of this is what I do, and therefore that is what people are going to search for. So, which is fine to a point, but it's important to think about keywords from a customer point of view. So what are customers going to be searching for? Because the language that you use for your business might be slightly different to what person on the street uses to describe your business. So in the case of Grasmere gingerbread, I'm 100% sure that a tranche of customers will search Grasmere gingerbread to find the Grasmere gingerbread website. However, there will be a segment who can't remember which town they were in, and they'll put gingerbread, Lake District, or they might put flapjack type stuff, Grasmere, and sort of in their head, they're trying to whittle down actually what they're wanting to find, but it's not always what you think they are looking for. Yeah. So how do you currently look at your keywords for your website? Is to think about it from a customer point of view. Don't fall into the trap of thinking about it necessarily from your business point of view. The Keyword Planner is free to use, but you do need to register for an AdWords account, which is also free, but it's just a bit of a faff to set up. So you have to kind of go through a process to get there. And then you end up in this bit where it's planning, and then you want to be in Keyword Planner. And the tool itself, when you get into it, looks like this. And it can help you identify terms and phrases that potential customers are searching for that are related to your business. And it might uncover related sort of niche searches that you're not currently using or you've not really thought about. So this was one for a company that offered walking holidays, and one of the key things that came out actually was they were going with like hiking and trekking and all the sort of obvious things, but actually as they got into this, it was all about self-guided. So self-guided walking holidays, self-guided hiking holidays, self-guided trekking holidays, supported walking holidays. And so we were making the phrase bigger and bigger. So when you're thinking about keywords, there's a massive temptation to go with the really obvious. So this company was based in the Yorkshire Dales. It was a 2-person business. They had 2 freelance guides that worked with them. They weren't huge. They didn't want loads and loads of traffic going to their website. They didn't want loads and loads of bookings, but what they wanted to go to their website was people that would convert. So you can see here, it gives you the idea of how many searches are taking place. Now, going with stuff like walking holidays, there's 1,000 to 10,000 searches taking place per month. And it's relatively competitive. It's got medium level of competition. But that all of those people searching for walking holidays, some of them would want guided walking holidays. Some of them would want group walking holidays, solo walking, blah, blah, blah. It's a bit too broad. So it's important to try and whittle down what your offer is so that the results that come out actually direct people to your website when they are almost ready and in that mindset of actually, yes, this is what I am looking for. So with these people, self-guided walking holidays, 100 to 1,000 searches with low competition meant that they were going to get the right people going to their website, even though it was only 100 to 1,000 people searching per month. It was much more specific, and therefore they were going to get customers who actually wanted self-guided walking holidays rather than just walking holidays for large groups, walking holidays, just it's too broad. So we went really niche with them. Yeah. So it might be that with your tutoring, Patsy, that you think about the specific subject or age group or syllabus, or I don't know, where you're located, or maybe not so relevant if you're doing, we were talking about that earlier. But it could be that you have like United Kingdom in there or whatever. Mina, were you waving or?
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to ask a question.
Yeah.
You said you access this tool via Google AdSense.
Yeah, Google AdWords. Yeah, so if you go to Google AdWords on Google, and then you can get into, or just put Google Keyword Planner into Google, and you will get to the right bit. Yeah.
So these phrases or keywords there that you're showing us, that's been linked to the website that you were looking at, is it? Or is it just generic?
So this is just generic search that I'd put in. So I'd put in walking holidays because I was working with a client, and that is basically what they offered, was walking holidays in sort of a really broad sense. And what we were looking at doing was being much more specific with the keywords to get the right people to go to their website. So like I say, it was a case of looking down these and actually then thinking about, right, okay, so they are self-guided walking holidays. They are, it's like they were offering almost a map and go type service. So it was understanding about actually what people might search for, but we started off with that really broad search of walking holidays. Yeah. Ooh, going forwards and backwards. You can filter the results, so you can take out all of the branded searches. So you would see on the previous slide, it said like HF walking holidays, Saga walking holidays, stuff like that. So then you can start and see how this builds. So Patsy's got a foster dog, so she might look for dog walking holidays. And so you can see that people get more and more specific. And if you on your website are indexing for dog walking holidays, then whilst the number of searches is relatively low, the people who come to your website having made that search are actually looking for dog walking holidays. So think about what your niche is. And
this is what I tried to do with the Google My Business. I was thinking, what on earth are people going to put in Google to try and find it? And so mine is really long, because I tried to get everything in that I could think was a possibility.
So probably what's worth doing, Patsy, is playing about with the keyword planner to try and work out actually what your keywords might be. Think about what your proposition is. So, you know, what service you're offering, and play about with the keyword planner to try and then work out what your keywords should be, rather than trying to keyword stuff. Yeah. You can also be location specific. So you can do this sort of on a global level, down to sort of county. You might even be able to do it city level, to be honest. And again, it shows you what's going on. So marketing consultant, North Yorkshire, that's me. Average monthly searches at 10 to 100, you know, so not loads. You can also use your website as a source. So Google will sort of read your page and generate keywords that it thinks describe what's going on your page, which is fine as a starter, but do remember to overlay it with that important information about actually what are the words and phrases that my customers might be using, rather than what you've written on your website might be technically very brilliant in terms of actually what you and your business do, but it's not necessarily what your customers would search to find your product or service. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. To those people that have joined, I'm not going to continue the intros, but if you've got questions or whatever, just interrupt or use the chats. I'm not terribly good at chat, but interruption's fine. Okay, so that's it. I mean, that's a sort of basic introduction to the keyword planner, and kind of the sounds terrible. You come on a webinar and I'm like, play about on it, but it really is the way to kind of like get to know it a bit better and see how you can use it in your business. So hopefully that's given you enough of a sort of intro to it, to sort of think about using that as part of your marketing efforts. Okay, so Google My Business. So Patsy, you mentioned you've got a Google My Business listing. Has anybody else got a Google My Business listing?
Yeah, I love it. I think it's a really good tool, but the app doesn't sync with it online. I don't know if anybody else has had this problem.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, it just doesn't sync when I do updates. But yeah, no, I think Google My Business is a really great tool for, especially on Google Maps. It's like it's free advertising, basically.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's one of the key reasons to use Google My Business, is it gets you pinned onto that map, but it is also you know, like you say, it's essentially free advertising, isn't it? So it allows you to really take control of your listing and put information in there that you want out in the world about your business. It gets you indexed on those kind of near me searches, so gets you dropped onto that map. If you don't want to reveal your address, then you can make that more generic. So on mine, I work from home all the time, have done for 10 years. Pandemic, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But I've just got like a broad area that I cover in the north of England, rather than, I don't want people turning up at my house. So it just gives an idea of where I work. It also, the powerful bit around Google My Business is sort of the reviews from customers and clients that you can collect on there. But you can also control all the information regarding how to contact the business, where you're located, opening times, etc. So this is kind of what comes up. This is what I mean about, this is my general area of work. I don't want people dropping in at my house, which is somewhere over here. And this is what it looks like to me. But if you guys put in air raid marketing, then you would see it presented in a slightly different way, because it doesn't then tell you that, you know, my business information needs editing and that I haven't got business hours or an appointment link, etc., etc. So from Google's point of view, it's a Google My Business. They reckon that if you have a Google My Business listing, that it helps establish authority with people who make searches. So their spin on it, if you like, to get people to sign up for Google My Business, which is free, is that people will trust your brand more because you've got a Google My Business listing. I guess there is a level of passive endorsement from Google that people might perceive to be there because they see your listing kind of separate to the organic listings. It's also an opportunity to kind of earn a bit more trust, because you can collect all of your reviews in one place. It allows you to increase traffic to your website because you've got your website link, and there are benefits SEO wise to having a Google My Business listing. So Google say that having the listing contributes positively to organic search listings through Google. If you are collecting reviews online, then if all of those reviews were weighted across the platforms that they were collected on, the ones that are on Google My Business carry more weight than the ones that are on, say, FIFO or TripAdvisor or whatever the other platforms are that you might be using in your business. As we said, adds your business to the map. So whilst on my sort of profile, it shows the general area of where I work. If people search Easingwold, that's like my nearest town. It's not sort of a town. Then I show up, but actually there's still nowhere on the map that that I'm dropped. It's just like, oh well, you know, somewhere around Easingwold, air raid marketing exists. So you know, think about actually the benefits of people being able to find you as in searching location wise. So for Yasmin with Grasmere gingerbread, then obviously actually locating whereabouts you are in Grasmere, you know, really useful. It is important, if it is relevant to your business, to create a really full listing. And those keywords that you've discovered using Keyword Planner, you can incorporate those into your Google My Business listing. Google likes consistency. So you can't keyword stuff, you know, like every other word can't be whatever your keywords are. But if the general message is the same on your website and on your Google My Business listing and on your anywhere else that you listed, tourism authority, or, you know, whatever your chartered institute is, or whatever it might be, if all of that information is consistent, then that's going to contribute to to Google trusting the information that you're putting out, because it kind of goes, has a look through everything. So the quality of the information given can also influence your ranking, but do try and make sure that it's as complete as possible. So literally just this morning, I was chatting with a client who has a shop. And she sells all sorts of stuff, but she sells some very well-known branded paints, and that's the main reason why people go to her shop. And she had a Google My Business listing. There was the opening hours that were on there were out of date. There was no posts. You can add like blog posts into your Google My Business listing. There was no products listed. So bearing in mind that people went to her to buy these specific paints, so she could have had products actually displayed as part of her listing to show what those products were. The description really didn't reflect what her business was all about and what her proposition was when people got to her shop. So try and make it as full as possible to get the maximum use out of it. There is the option to have messaging through Google My Business. Do you use that, Patsy, yourself?
No, I use that through my Facebook page.
Yeah, so I'm a bit in two minds on this. It's like, do we need another channel for people to get in touch with you? If you feel that your customers are going to use Google My Business as a primary channel for getting in touch with you, so you might not have a website, you might not have social channels, you might not be directing them anywhere else from your Google My Business listing, then probably worth having messaging switched on. But if you've got lots of other ways and you've got telephone numbers and locations and all sorts of stuff, do you want another messaging channel opening up? Just, you know, something to bear in mind from a sort of sanity point of view. Well, you know, you've got to be real about these things. There's also an opportunity for people to ask questions and answers on Google My Business. So in an indirect way, it can also give you insights about your customers. You know, if they're asking questions, want questions and answers on your Google My Business listing, then should your description contain more about that information? What can you learn about your customers from the way that they phrase the questions? You can sort of try and understand more about who your consumer is. Yeah. And then obviously you can collect reviews, so you can build trust by the reviews coming on, so 5-star reviews. But it's always important to kind of respond, you know, don't just leave them hanging. So, you know, demonstrate good customer service by responding to reviews. Yasmin, you were a sort of advocate for Google My Business.
Yes, I have a question for you actually.
Oh,
When you say incorporate the keywords into the listing, so
into your description. Yeah.
Okay, all right, I've nailed out my description, but can I put the keywords into like blog posts almost as well, like make sure that's reflective of the website?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
No, like I'm quite new to Google Business. Like I've only done it like since January. That's still new. But
yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna add my products as well because I think that's really good. And I think what is great on the app is you can see, like, I'm not sure what everyone's business is, sorry, but you can see like the views and the searches and the activity. So you know when you're getting high like website hits and how many people are putting on your map views. And I think that's actually really a good part about the Google My Business as well.
Yeah, so you get those little insights. So if you search your own business, so here you can see 42 views in the last 28 days on mine. God, that's a bit terrible, really, isn't it? But it also gives you more insights as you go in through the sort of back end.
It's like easy insights, basically.
Easy insights. Yeah. So it's like, it is easy insights. It's like, well, actually what's happening, how many people have gone through to your website, stuff like that. And they also email you once a month with a little summary of, you know, what people have searched for that have driven them to your website. So I mean, all of this stuff, don't think about it as, oh right, that's Google My Business next. Think about it as, actually this is giving me intelligence about what people are searching for when they come to my website, what searches I'm appearing in, you know, how many searches are taking place. It's all giving you like little bits of information that can help you with your business. Does that all make sense? Everybody's disappeared off camera. I've no idea what's going on now. Let me see Patsy. Okay. Oh, Paul. Yes, we can sort out the recording so you can check what you missed. Yes, we'll do that, Paul. No problem. Right, let's move back forward. Okay, so Google Trends. Is anybody currently using Google Trends? Shake of heads. Paul. No one else? No one? No. Okay, so it's like, if this is like Google's best kept secret. So this I think it's brilliant. So you can identify trends that can help with business planning, because you can see what people are searching for over time, and then you can use that to develop your content strategy for your website and or your social media activity as well. So it kind of gets rid of a few of those, oh my God, what am I going to blog about questions, or you know, should I be doing X, Y, and Z in my business? And it just allows you to identify, you know, explore, it allows you to explore what the world is searching. So you just, I should have put the Google addresses in for this. You just literally put in the search term or topic that you're looking for. So this is one of my favorites. So coffee beans, fairly sort of dull subject, I guess, unless you're a coffee aficionado. So interest over time. So this was over the past 12 months. This is an index rating. So this isn't, there wasn't 100 searches, but that's the maximum number of searches that there have ever been for coffee beans in the UK in the past 12 months. And you can do this from 2004 to present day, and you can do it hour by hour. If I don't know why you'd need to do it hour by hour. I can't think of an example off the top of my head. Anyway, what this is showing is that there's sort of like a general, people maybe sort of, let's assume that people start getting interested in coffee beans in the run up to Christmas. You know, is it something that people, you know, start thinking about, oh, we should get some posh coffee in for Christmas? I don't know. Anyway, this was lockdown last year. And then, of course, everybody realized that they couldn't get fresh coffee on the way to work. So people hit the internet trying to buy coffee beans, which, you know, and this sort of illustrates perfectly that there's a spike in the volume of searches that are taking place for coffee, and attributed to COVID-19. Same thing here, UK, past 12 months. Grocery delivery. So, you know, lockdown was what, the 23rd of March, like a day later, everybody in the UK, by the look of this, is on the internet trying to get some groceries delivered to their house. So in a more practical sense of how you might use Google Trends rather than just for interest purposes. So walking holidays. So again, back to this client. So it gives you an idea of when people are searching for walking holidays. And there's this spike here, sort of around Christmas time, Christmas New Year-ish, and then it sort of tails off. What I would say to anybody is actually, if you are going to do anything on Google Trends now, don't necessarily look at last year's data, because it's going to be skewed massively. So sort of look at like 2 or 3 years and then try and make sense of it and overlay it with that knowledge that you know we had a pandemic, or we're still having a pandemic. Anyway, but we can see here that there's a spike in January or late December where people are searching for walking holidays. And you're like, right, fine, well, I probably knew that anyway. So how can you use that in your business? So if you can create content for your website, say 6 to 8 weeks prior to when you know that people are going to be making searches for your product or service, that it will have time to be indexed by Google. And so when people are making those searches, there's more chance of your content being delivered as a result. Does that make sense? So, and you can also think about developing content plans. So actually thinking about, what am I going to blog about, or what's my content plan looking like for my social media? Are there any trends within your sort of business sector that you could be tapping into, knowing that they happen at approximately the same time every year? So I'm sure that, well, even Harry and Mina, although they're not necessarily responsible for their websites, but as business advisors, there will be a key time of year, or maybe a couple of key times of the year, where people are searching for business advice or business support or local authority business support or whatever it might be. And if Harry and Mina were actually responsible for their website, then they could blog about business support through the local authority or whatever body it is that they're working for, so that when people were making those searches, their content would come through and people would actually go to their website as opposed to just finding a generic answer. Yeah. Can any of you think about what trends you might search for in Google Trends? What would you put in the search term box?
Like you
Deborah,
said.
oh, sorry.
Oh, go on. Mina?
Yeah, I was just going to say about, like you said, about, sort of business advice, I suppose, and then things like that. If we were looking at sort of the trends for our website, really, or even, ICT, I suppose, or even websites, if you were looking at using your website a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, because obviously I'm going to be helping Patsy hopefully with her website.
Yeah.
All of these tools are very much sort of geared towards having a website, isn't it?
Well, yes and no. So Google Trends could help you with your social content. So if you know, say that Patsy's search might have been home educating. I don't know. I don't think that's the right phrase, but anyway, we'll go with it. Home educating. People might look for it in August before kids go back to school in September. If you sort of confirmed that was where the spike was in Google Trends, then it might be that you start doing social posts around home educating in June and July, so that they're indexed, and then if people were searching, it's probably a bit broad, homeschooling, but we'll stick with the example. They were searching, then there's more probability for Patsy to be found even on social platforms.
I'm glad you've mentioned that, because I'd actually prepared a post that I was going to put up as and when the A-level and GCSE results came out, but I was thinking I'll wait till then. But now you've said that, I think actually I will put it up maybe now. Yeah, before they come out then.
Yeah. Because then once the results are out, that's kind of, is that the end of August? It's been such a long time.
It's going to be earlier this year. They're coming in.
Oh, is it?
Yes, they're in the next week or so.
Right. So so once those results are out and people are thinking about exam results and stuff, they might be making searches, but you want your content to have been recognized by Google to get a result on that. So Harry, you've got your hand up.
I just think you're spot on by saying this is like the hidden gem, really, because, for example, at the moment I've been working on startup businesses, obviously helping them getting started up and getting them going, but you're surprised by how many don't really have an idea of when they'd actually want to start the business. Sometimes it's, I've had people say things, it's just that because they like that month, which, or the kids have, and then you have the more practical reasons, the kids have gone back to school and I'm ready to get it started up. But they could use stuff like this to even see when, if they might, for example, not want to start in the summer because they want to enjoy it themselves. It's quite a period at the moment. But if you're looking at like the trends and stuff, this might be where everyone's searching you to plan you for October kind of thing. So it might encourage people to start up earlier or pick the right time at least.
Yeah. And actually for a startup business, what it might also do is help them understand where the peaks and troughs of their business year might be, you know.
And factor that in the financial forecasting potentially and stuff like
absolutely.
that.
So Yasmin, were you going to say something earlier? I think you'd come off mute.
Yeah, no, it's fine. You kind of mentioned it anyway about the trends, so it was kind of covered.
Okay.
I get trends, but I don't really find it really helpful, because I think you get your answer and then you have to kind of do all the other work in a way. Does that make sense? It's like the rest of Google kind of tells you what to do, like with the ads and the analytics, but you just get this answer from trends and it's like, okay, great. Like put the creative mind on to use that. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I've done like quite a few Google trends, and like things come back, and of course like last year doesn't really help, but I think it's all about pre-planning with the trends. Yeah, it is about, that's just my view. Yeah, so it is about knowing when to release stuff to hit those spikes. But in terms of creative thought, oh God, what's it called? Answerthepublic.com. Have you used that? No, what's that one?
Okay, so not a Google tool, but yeah, answerthepublic.com is a great website. So it's it sort of collates queries, genuine queries that have been put in the internet, and it comes up with the questions that people have asked. So
yes, right.
So then you can tailor your content to actually answer those questions. So my example for this is a bit weird, but basically I've got another business that does adventure cycling events on the North York Moors, and basically the category is called gravel cycling. So if I put gravel cycling into answerthepublic.com, it comes up with like loads of stuff, starting usually with what type of bike can I do a gravel event on, what sort of tires should I use for gravel cycling, where are the events, which are the best events, you know, so you can then answer those questions in blog content. So if you were looking for I don't know what you might search, Yasmin, I'm trying to think, like tourist attractions in
no, like a lot of people put into Google like what time is it open, how to get the gingerbread, honestly, that's what people type in, so
that's what you need to be answering is
exactly those even though it's clearly on the website, which is all SEO'd, we'll have to answer them on Google.
yeah, exactly. So answer those questions in your blog, and then answer them somewhere else as well.
Deborah,
hi.
You know, with the Google Trends, how do you find it? Do you just put Google Trends into Google?
Just put Google Trends into Google. Yeah. It's so what I should have mentioned was so obviously there are other search engines. Anybody use them? Bing has an equivalent of Google My Business. And they have an equivalent of Google AdWords as well. If you are appealing to a slightly more mature demographic, then think about using Bing as well. Quite often, more mature people use Bing because it's set as the default browser on PCs. So you know, I mean, this is about Google, but don't forget there are other search engines, and quite often they have equivalent tools that you can use as well to help you with your business. Okay.
Sorry, Deborah, can I just ask?
Right.
Yeah, I've been on well, I've had a little try on the Google Trend.
Oh yeah.
Do you have to put like keywords then?
Yeah, so put in
keywords.
Yeah, put in whatever your search term might be.
Yeah. Because it came, I put a few in and it came up with not enough data to.
Okay, so you're being too niche with that then. So think slightly broader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Oh, it's funny, isn't it? Okay, so also on when you get into Google Trends, there's also a bit about hot topics and related queries. So the related queries could actually help you with your SEO and sort of keyword strategy as well. Hot topics, I suppose they're useful if you're responding to anything that's happening right now. If anybody's in a business where they need to know exactly what people are searching at any one point in time. Again, I'm struggling to think of an example, so I'll move on. Google Alerts. Anyone using Google Alerts? Anyone heard of Google Alerts?
Yeah, I use Google Alerts.
Yay!
I have them auto ruled into an inbox as well.
You're so organised.
Yeah, but otherwise it just gets in the way.
Absolutely. So Google Alerts. So this is a way of monitoring the web for interesting content. So again, coming back to that blogs or social media content generation type stuff, you know, so it might be that I'm going to say that Patsy's teaching maths and she teaches 8 to 18-year-olds. So she might need to monitor the internet for developments in teaching primary maths or secondary maths or A-level maths or GCSE maths or whatever.
Of all the subjects you could have chosen.
I have no, I'm just like, just whatever pops into my head. What do you teach, Patsy?
I teach English and history.
Oh, very good. Yes. So again, you know, it might be that you keep up with the English syllabus or the history syllabus or whatever. So it just allows you to monitor the web for interesting content, and you will get an email into your inbox with a link to the content. More than that, it also allows you to monitor your brand name or brand terms or your business or that of your competitors, see what's going on. Just keep an eye on what's happening in sort of your world, really. And you know, are people talking about your business elsewhere on a platform that you're not currently monitoring? You know, so again. I did some work with a business that's like an adventure running shop, and we would monitor their search terms through Google Alerts. And actually, they used to get a lot of mentions on running forums, and it was just interesting to see what people were saying about them. It's not that we necessarily wanted to interact or get involved. We just wanted to know what was happening. So sometimes it's about generating interesting content. Sometimes it's about just keeping an eye on what's happening in your world, keeping an eye on your brand terms. Again, super easy to use. Create an alert about, and then just put in what that might be. So it might be your business name. So it might be that Yasmin's got herself for Grasmere Gingerbread, I'm guessing. And then she will get an email about any mentions of Grasmere Gingerbread on the internet. So you can set it up. You can control frequency of notifications. You know, you might want it daily, you might want it weekly. Types of sites that are going to be searched. You might just want all of the web. You might just want, you know, blogs and discussions. You know, I don't know why you wouldn't just go all of the web, to be honest. But anyway, language, parts of the world by country, how many results. So do you just want the best results or all the results? Again, why would you not want all of the results? How does Google know what your best is, you know, by your standards? And which email accounts get the alert? Do you use it for anything in particular, Yasmin, or is it just a case of kind of media monitoring?
Yeah, it's just media monitoring, because sometimes you don't really know. So it's really handy, because then you can go straight to the link. But like, especially for like press, you know, if you've been mentioned on a magazine or a blog, then you know, because you've got the alert.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking of setting up another one. Actually, it's quite easy to set up. Like they are quite good.
Yeah, absolutely. So it for media monitoring, so mentioning of your brand names, it can give you an idea of whether you've had PR coverage in magazines, etc., Yasmin was saying, but I sort of think that if you use it a bit broader than that, then you can feed it into your content strategy as well. So for those, for your social or your blogs or website or email contact with clients or customers, it might be that you want to know about something pertaining to sort of your area of business, and you want to keep up with actually what's going on, what the latest things are, and it just brings it all to your inbox rather than you searching around the internet looking for sort of trusted content, etc. Just makes life a little bit simpler. Is everybody happy with that? Silence. I'm going to take the silence as a good sign. Right. Google Analytics. Anybody using Google Analytics?
I have dipped in and out of Google Analytics.
Good.
But again, not for myself, but so for other businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Google Analytics. I'm one of those nerds, obviously likes it.
I like it. I think it's dead useful.
I find it really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's almost
it can be overwhelming.
It's almost too big. Yeah,
it is. I think I'm on the other version to you. Looking at your screenshots when you're on trends, I think I'm on another version. You know the other version.
Yeah, right. Are you on Google Analytics 4 as opposed to Universal Analytics?
Oh gosh, I don't even know where you'd find that out.
I'm covering both of them. So.
Goody.
Woo. Okay, so why would you use Google Analytics? So first of all, Google Analytics is a free, these are all free tool that allows you to see what is happening on your website. In terms of number of people that have gone to your website, what pages they've looked at, how much time they've spent on your website. So it can help you monitor the performance of your website. So if one of your business goals is to sell more gingerbread online, then you would want to know how much gingerbread you were selling currently. You'd want to know how many people will go into your website, what your conversion rate was, how many more people you had to get into your website to then make that target achievable. So, you know, it's just a series of maths, really. It can also help you understand how customers find your website. So this is really important because you spend a lot of time and effort trying to get people to come to your business website. And if you don't know whether that time and effort is producing the result that you want, then why are you doing it? So it just makes everything a bit more transparent in terms of, you know, what's coming through. And it can help you understand more about your customers, demographics, affinity categories. There's all sorts of information in there. You can turn into a right nerd. It is a really powerful tool. I sometimes do think there's almost too much information in there, to be honest. And in some cases that stops people using it. So today I've just picked out like the key little bits that I think are good start points with Google Analytics rather than get too into it. But if anybody's got any specific questions, I'll try to answer them. So there are two versions of this running at the moment. So there's Universal Analytics, which is the traditional one, and then there's Google Analytics 4, which they are now saying is the next generation. I mean, basically they're telling you the same thing, it's just in a slightly different format. Yeah. Anyway, so Universal Analytics is the sort of one that most people are using, and it looks somewhat like this when you drop into it. So at a snapshot, you get how many users there are. This one's got e-commerce enabled, so it tells you what the revenue is, what the conversion rate is, how many sessions there have been. So there's been 80 users, 87 sessions. So that means that 7 people well, potentially 7 people have come back. Any active users right now. So it's pretty simple. It doesn't actually tell you loads. That's just based on the last 7 days. But as you get into it, so if you get the titles of all of these are basically where the information is in the menu, which I think is probably the simplest way of presenting this. So audience overview tells you sort of the key stats in terms of how many people have been to your website, how many pages people have looked at when they've come to your website, how long they've been on your website, and what your bounce rate is. So in the top right-hand corner, you can change the date range. I tend to say to clients that they should be looking at Google Analytics once a month, unless they've got a specific reason to be in there more frequently. But a month kind of gives you a good picture of what's going on or what has been going on your website. So in terms of this, this is for an event that takes place. The event typically takes place at this time of year. This is 2020. That's this year. Last year. Yeah. So this would have been when people were looking for specific information about the event. Is the event, where the event's taking place, that kind of thing. Bounce rate is the percentage of people that come to your website who only look at one page. Now, on this version of Google Analytics, Google is striving for you to get your bounce rate to be as low as possible. So it wants people to not just go to a website and leave, because then Google, how do you describe this? So Google's basically a service provider. They want to provide a good service for their customer, which is the person that is searching. So if somebody goes to your website, so person's done a search on Google, person clicks the link, goes to your website, and then leaves straight away. The assumption on this Google Analytics is that the query that has been made has not delivered the experience that the searcher was looking for, and then they have left. Yeah. On next generation of Google Analytics, you're actually looking for an engagement rate, which is time-based, because now they're recognizing that people sometimes just look at one page, because then they find the information that they want, and there's less necessity for people to be searching around a website. Nothing like making it confusing. Right, okay, so you can see pages per session, so 2.5 pages per session, so people are looking around this website. Yeah. In acquisition, all traffic and sources, you can see where people have come to your website from. So this shows that this website has got traffic driven by organic searches on Google as being the primary source of traffic. People coming direct, so actually putting the URL into Google. And then these are all referral sites. So this is all editorial. Redbull.com, bikeradar.com, singletrackworld.com, blah, blah, sportive.com. That's all been editorial that's been generated about this event. And we can then see, oh, right, okay, so 59 people came from redbull.com. The bounce rate's really low when they come from redbull.com. They're more than average looking around the website. Their time is more than average. So actually that's quite a good one for us in terms of, getting the right people to come to our website. There's no e-commerce conversions and transactions shown because we weren't running the event. So we don't know actually the event, we don't know the value that came through in terms of sales from these sources for last year, because we weren't selling anything because everybody had COVID. We can also see from here, which is also interesting, that Facebook does send people through to the website, but the bounce rate's really high. So that would suggest to me that the content that we're putting out on Facebook is encouraging people to go to the website, but then whatever their expectation is of the website isn't what we are putting forward on Facebook. So there's a little disconnect somewhere. So you can start and draw little conclusions. You have to overlay it with your own knowledge, obviously, about why things are happening on your website and what is causing things to happen. So, I mean, we can see that all of the stuff that's come through editorial wise, you know, has got relatively low bounce rate. People are looking around. So editorial is a really strong way for us to get people onto the website and get people to engage with the event. Our sort of Facebooky stuff, Facebook here, less so. Facebook through a link, so that's probably an advert, is not too bad. We do actually have some Bing users, which surprises me, but they're more engaged than Google users as well. So again, you can start and sort of think about actually, what does this mean for my business? You know, is there information that I can overlay on top of this to start and make conclusions about where I should be putting my marketing effort, but also the type of users that you've got of your website. Yeah. Site content, again, useful part of Google Analytics. So this is in behavior, site content, all pages. So then you can start and see which pages people are looking at on your website across a period of time. So which are the really popular ones? This is always your homepage, that /. How many people bounced from that? How many people came in on that page? How many people bounced off? And how many people was it their final page? So not necessarily they didn't bounce off it, but they might have had a little journey around the website and then left. Yeah. So with this, we know that this event is our most popular event. So it's no surprise to me that that's the second most popular page. Then we've got like our second event, people looking for purchasing products. Third event, news, shop, blah, 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 gallery. The traffic to the gallery goes up shortly after an event, because obviously people are looking for photos of themselves. So, you know, again, you kind of got that knowledge about, right, I know this has happened in my business, and therefore that will happen on my website. So it's not like you come to your website analytics and go, oh my God, the gallery's like the #1 page. Why can that be? You know, I can't sell anything from that. It's like, oh, well, actually, we've just done an event. People are looking at photos from themselves, you know. But then what you might add into that is, fine, they're going to do that, but where's my call to action to get them to buy for next year? So think about actually how you can use that information to make more sales. Yeah. Having told you all the stuff about acquisition, there's also a thing called multi-channel funnels. Just to make it a bit more complicated. So if you offline, we always used to say that you would need to see something at least 7 times to get a reaction from like an advert or a piece of editorial, you know. And it's no different these days. People might have more than one touch point with your website before they make a transaction or an inquiry or whatever your website objective is. So these multi-channel funnels, this multi-channel funnel channel grouping path shows here that actually people have done an organic search and then gone away, and then they've come back direct and then gone away, but then they've come through a referral source and then they've made a transaction. So there's been 3 touch points with the website before people have become a transacting consumer. So whilst I'm saying, oh, right, okay, the referral stuff, so the editorial, say redbull.com was doing really, really well, and people were just leaving when they'd had a look on Facebook. Actually, Facebook might be a contributor to one of these paths. So it's not that I'm going to kill my Facebook activity. I'm just going to make it better. So people are bouncing off, but actually what I want them to do is engage a bit more, because it might be a key part of like the touch points with the brand. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Got one nod. Okay, so Google Analytics 4, which is the new version. And is this the one that you've got, Yasmin?
No, it's not actually. I've got the same one as you.
That's all right then. Okay.
Like, how do you know which version you have though? I don't understand that.
So in the code that you put in the back end of your website, so to get Google Analytics,
right, okay, it's in the coding.
In the coding, yeah. So for people who are adding Google Analytics into your website, it's a piece of code. You go to Google Analytics, you tell them the web address, it gives you a piece of code, you put it in the back end. So the universal analytics is .gsi code, I think it is. Actually,
so which one is better? Like, obviously I can't change, so
so you can change. So if you log into Google Analytics at the moment, it will give you the option. It will give you the option across the top to switch to something else in like an orangey banner. I think it's coming up.
I've not had that banner.
Oh, right, okay. So I don't know if they're rolling out over time or what. I don't really know what the situation is, but I know that basically I've got another website that has the new stuff on.
What do you prefer? Just out of interest.
I prefer the old one.
Oh, do you? Oh no. Well, not when I've got to grips with this one.
I know, exactly. It's like, I think I prefer it because I've been using it for such a long time and I'm such an old fuddy-duddy. Right. So this is your reports. Now, if you are using Google Analytics 4, which I guess all the websites will progress to this. We won't have a choice, will we? Because we're not bigger than Google. So if you drop into it, it looks like this. This is Google Analytics 4. Again, it gives you that info about users, new users. You can see that we've got average engagement time, total revenue. Again, this isn't a transacting website. Gives you a bit of an overview about where users have come from. And as you get into it, you can see there's no real mention anywhere of bounce rate. So bounce rate has gone out of this, and instead they talk about engagement rates and how that is more important. So it's a combination of people coming to your website and the time that they spend on your website. So not necessarily looking around multiple pages. I don't know what that time threshold is, by the way, don't ask me. I'm sure if you Google it, there'll be an answer. So again, gives you a bit of an idea of acquisition overview, session organic non-referral, and then you can delve a little bit deeper into session source medium to find out. Again, I mean, this looks pretty much like the old version, apart from the graph, which I don't get. But it shows you how many people are coming from organic search, how many people are coming direct, people using Yahoo, who uses Yahoo, Grimsby creates, blah, 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 all this sort of stuff, and engaged sessions, rather than bounce rate. And so you're looking for that number to be as high as possible, whereas on bounce rate, you're looking for it to be as low as possible. Average engagement time per session, so 2 minutes for ones that find us organically, and then it's sort of dropping quite quickly. I don't know what this is going on. One session, 4 minutes. Doesn't sound right, but anyway. But again, it gives you the same sort of information, but just keep in your head that you want people to be engaged, whereas you don't want them to be bouncing if you're on the other version, or if you're switching between them. Oh no, what's happened? And then also we've got pages and screens. So you can see which pages people are engaging with, and again, average engagement time and how many users are actually looking at those pages. To be honest, I'm finding all of the graphs quite tricky. It doesn't tell me enough in Federal. Just give me the data. I'd much rather have it like that. Now, for the moment, and I don't know whether it's because this isn't a e-commerce website, but I can't find multi-channel funnels in the new version. So I don't know whether that's gone. But actually, in terms of usefulness, that was one of the really useful things in Universal Analytics for me. That's kind of where we're at. Has anybody got any questions at all? Stony silence. No one got questions. Oh no.
No, I'm good. I don't have a question. Thank you.
You don't have. Thanks.
I think Patsy is trying to ask something, but she's on mute.
She's on. Oh, you're on mute, Patsy. Unmute yourself.
There's be a little microphone button somewhere at the bottom or at the top.
Oh, are you on a computer?
Got it. Sorry. What I wanted to ask was, what is the definition of an organic search?
Oh, so something that's been done where the results have come up in Google, you know, so it's just like an organic listing. So if you put a search in Google for digital catalyst, and then the result came up as being this, you know, this program, and you just clicked on that link in the organic results, then that's an organic search. Yeah. Paul's asking if there's a tutorial for analytics. Yes, Google do a very good but very in-depth tutorial for absolutely everything.
I was just going to say, in terms of sort of organic search, normally when you do a search, if it's got the AD next to it, then it's a advert.
Then it's an advert, yeah. And in your Google Analytics, if it was an advert, it would show up differently. It wouldn't be an organic search. It would come through as being an ad. Yes. So you would know whether your ad campaigns were working.
Yeah, yeah. So would you were saying about looking at your Google Analytics every month?
Yeah.
Is that with a view to making changes to your website?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, so it's about knowing what's going on your website without getting so sucked into it that you're fiddling about all the time, really. So sometimes you do need to make changes, and sometimes you don't. So, you know, so it's like that gallery thing. So I know that after an event, people are going to look for photos of themselves. Now, so long as there's a link to rebook for next year, I don't mind that page being the most popular page on the website. It's serving a purpose. You know, but if also what it might do, you know, if you're in there sort of once a month and you know that people are bouncing off or not engaging with a certain page, then actually is there something wrong with the way it's presented? Is it laid out incorrectly? Have you not got strong call to actions in it? Are you not directing people elsewhere? I mean, you see it quite often with blog posts that people, you know, they'll write a really good blog and then they won't put a call to action at the bottom. So it's like, well, you've just wasted that massive opportunity to get people to look around your website and interact with you by not putting a call to action in. But if you were looking at your Google Analytics and you saw that people were exiting continuously from your blog posts, then hopefully you'd kind of be thinking, actually, I need to stop people doing that. I want them to do something else. What do I want them to do? I want them to fill out a contact form. So you might put a link into your blog post to your contact form or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paul, it says there's lots of terms that are hard to understand in Google Analytics. Yes, I agree. It gets very confusing. again, it's a bit of a get in there and have a look around and see what you make of it type thing. But hopefully you've kind of got confidence to kind of go in there and look around and have a bit more of an idea of what the terms might mean now.
Yeah, I think the lady, sorry, I didn't get her name, who was talking about going on once a month.
Yeah, Mina,
Mina, yeah, no, I do think that's a really good idea, especially if you're like adding new content to your site to see how it's performing. For instance, like we're recruiting at the minute, and obviously I'm watching on analytics like how many page views we're getting on the employment page.
Yeah.
So that's another example. Like I think it's hard to sometimes show examples. Yeah. Unless you go in and like understand your website, and you don't have to be really techie to see, oh, this one's not performing well, or this one isn't performing well.
Yeah. But if you've got a recruitment campaign sort of running at the moment, then you'll want to know that it's working.
So that's just another example. If someone is, you know, like just to see how it's performing, because obviously if it's not performing well, you obviously aren't trying to do it in the right way, if that makes sense. Even though recruiting is like the hardest thing to do in the world right now.
Everywhere, every time I talk to people from different parts of the UK, it's like, I can't recruit stuff.
It's the conversation is getting really boring talking about it, honestly.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. What else? So also what you can see through your Google Analytics is which product categories are performing best, or which products. So if you're in a business where you're not in touch with the actual orders that are coming through, then if you've got the e-commerce part of it enabled, then you'll be able to work out actually which products are you selling more of. So it might be a case of helping with your business planning to some extent.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything further?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
You're good.
Thanks so much,
Okay.
Deborah. So nice to see you.
Yeah,
thanks for
good to see you again.
tips.
I think Sadia is just going to launch a poll, if you just wouldn't mind for 2 seconds while she gets that up and running.
Yes, please. Thank you, Deborah. And thank you for your time and sharing your knowledge with us. I hope everybody's found that very beneficial. I'll launch the poll now. If you could just take a moment to answer, I think there's only 8 quick questions in there which help us in delivering future webinars. So if you could take the time to just quickly answer those, that'd be great. Whilst you're doing that, I just want to take a very brief minute to mention a couple of things around further support available to businesses. There's further events happening, some more webinars. We also have a series of masterclasses running, and what I'll do is everybody that's on this webinar today, I'll send across an email to you with a link where you can have a look at what events are coming up in the next couple of months. We will be planning more as well, so Deborah's just put up the schedule there for the ones in August. And there's a link at the bottom of that slide. I think, Deborah, it hasn't come up quite yet. There we go. So I'll send that to everybody in an email, so you can click on that and register to any further events you're interested in. So we look forward to seeing you on those. The other further support available is a program called Digital Catalyst, which is a specialist support program. We have lots of specialist advisors who are experts in various areas of digital technology who are on board with us to deliver the program. It's currently on pause at the moment as we're fully subscribed. However, we are still mentioning the program because we would like businesses who are interested to come along to us and express their interest so we can keep them on a waiting list. The program, in an overview, is a digital assessment that you go through, which then leads to the expert support. So we put you in touch with the right advisor for the type of digital input that you need for your business. So it's very specialised to you and your business. And then we leave you with sort of an action plan and direct you to any further support that you might need. So support with brokerage and technology provider selection. There are a wide range of projects that we can work with you on. There's a bit of a list there, and as it says, it's definitely not exhaustive. So if you have something else in mind that you think your business could benefit from, then do get in touch with us about that. Or if you're unsure what would benefit and you want support to find out, then again, we're here to help with that as well. So I'll share these slides with you. further along, there is a slide with details of how you can express interest for the Digital Catalyst programme. So there's some contact details here. You can call us, drop us an email, and find out more on the website for Grow My SME as to what the programme is and what the eligibility criteria, etc. is. So we look forward to hearing from you on that as well. That concludes what I wanted to say. Deborah, thank you very much for handing to me, and
No
thank you to you again for your time today.
You're welcome. But if nobody has any further questions around Google Tools, then thanks very much for coming along.